Welcome to my arena tier list, guys. Before we start, I would like to point out two things. First of all, there are balance changes coming, so keep in mind that this tier list is only actual as of February 2021, and with the new balance changes and patches, this can change. Second thing, I'm trying to shift the meta and the strength of the civilizations around the top level. Therefore, some civilizations can be seen stronger or weaker on lower levels because, for example, they are easier to play, but I would like to see how strong the civilization can be if it's played perfectly, and I'm trying to see it based on that. So those are the two things to remember while watching the video. Without further hesitation, let's go into the actual tier list. We can start with Aztecs. Aztec, this is a no-brainer. Aztecs are, since AOC in 2003, Aztecs are amazing arena civilization. They have amazing eco, really strong army, lots of options. So yeah, Aztecs definitely have to be in the S tier. We can go for Berbers. This is a bit more interesting. It's a civilization that doesn't really have a great eco bonus. You have faster moving villages, and that's about it. You have more options though than most people would realize, because you also have hand cannons, bombard cannons. This is very important in arena. You also have champions, which can help you against some halp siege pushes. Yeah, you do have options army-wise. What's putting Berbers lower is mainly their economy, which simply isn't great. So I will only put them in C tier here. We can go for Britons. This is likely the best arena civilization in the game. Simply incredible eco, amazing bonuses, especially for arena, for booming. Their armies may be the strongest in the game if they get to werewolf traps, longbowmen, halps, and onagers. There is very little to beat them. So yeah, Britons are for me surely an S tier civilization. Bulgarians. The civilization was recently buffed. Their siege is now, or their siege upgrades are now cheaper. It's just not enough. On arena, the civilization is still really slow. You don't have real eco bonus. You rely on really expensive army of halps, SOs, maybe on conics. Yeah, you can get some good matchups with Bulgarians, but I don't really see you higher than D tier. Moving on, we have their Burgundians, first new civilization. It's a civilization for arena. While it doesn't seem that strong on Arabia for now, on arena, the faster eco upgrades, one age faster, means a lot, because you are mostly going for FC and it doesn't hurt you to go for double bait in like minute 5. So yeah, also relics generating food is really good. You have amazing HC, amazing BBC. One of the best units, unique units in the game, 2 amazing unique technologies. There is really little what I would miss when I'm playing Burgundian, so this is another S tier civilization for me. Burmese. This was seen as one of the strongest civilizations on arena in the past. It doesn't seem so at the moment. You mainly struggle against archer armies. You have obviously amazing monks. You have onagers. You have arambais. The biggest strength of Burmese is simply if they are playing very aggressive, we can call it YOLO. YOLO generally means playing 1 TC, potentially fast aims and such, and this is where Burmese shine. If you played in standard, then Burmese simply aren't a great civilization in arena, but there aren't many civilizations that can be stronger when they go for full aggression than Burmese. So I will put them in B tier for now. Byzantines. Well, Byzantines have basically all the options you want when you want to play arena. You have monks, you have cheaper trash, you have very strong unique units, at least in some occasions. You have siege rams, you have bombard cannons. You really have a lot, but you lack an eco bonus. You only have cheaper imp, which does matter, but it's just not comparable to some other eco bonuses. So for me, Byzantines are only A tier. However, they are like very high in the A tier for sure. Celts. That's simply a solid civilization. Problem with Celts is that everyone kind of knows what you want to do. You want to boom into elite votes or maybe into help siege. And before you get there, you don't really have many options. Still, you have really good eco. You have heresy, which matters on arena. So I'm gonna put Celts as B tier. Some civilizations can have very tough time against Celts for sure. So I'm gonna put them here mainly because of their eco. Also, their army is strong, but you simply need some time, which sometimes might be tricky to get with Celts. Chinese. That's an E tier civilization. There is no other way around it. The biggest problem of Chinese is that they have literally nothing against onagers. You can talk about Chukonu being better versus siege, but simply if there is 6-7 onagers, no one can micro this, and you will always take bad fight against it. This is the main problem. You don't have monks with redemption to convert the siege. You don't have BBC, which is the main problem. Your own onagers don't have siege engineers, so they have less range than the onagers with siege engineers. Simply Chinese, this is the biggest weakness of Chinese onagers. And even your strongest army composition of Light Kiev and Chukonu isn't that amazing on its own. You have decent eco, but yeah, simply Chinese has to stay in E tier because they really struggle against onagers. Cumans. It's a B tier civilization. Might be a bit surprising, might be surprisingly low for someone, but I simply feel that how Cumans are played for now, which is basically feudal, second TC, and then kind of 2 TC into fast imp, can be stopped quite easily if you know what to do against it. And other than that, Cumans don't really have great options. I mean, you do have Hussar, which is great. You do have Kipchak, which is a solid unit. Even have SOs, although without siege engineers. So you have decent army in him, although compared to the best civilizations in the game, your army really isn't that amazing. And you do have the eco because of the second TC. I still cannot put them higher in my opinion. So I will keep Cumans in B tier. Ethiopians. Ethiopians are a great arena civilization. I will put them in A tier, but same as with Byzantines, you can make arguments with them to move them into S tier. They have better eco than Byzantines for sure, because of the plus 100 food and plus 100 gold when you are advancing to next age. Also, you have great BBC, you even have Sage Onagers, you have helps. There isn't really many what Ethiopians lack, but compared to the strongest saves, I would still put them only in A tier. But you could make arguments with Ethiopians a bit higher, even higher than A tier. Franks. I'm gonna put Franks in S tier because I simply love Franks. One of the easiest civilizations to play with. They are amazing for the scouts, for the map control. Axemen are really good. Onagers with siege engineers, also very nice. You have BBC. Obviously Paladin, if you can get to those. I think that there's very small edge that I would put Franks compared to Byzantines and Ethiopians, but I will still keep it. So basically this is the line which I draw between S tier and A tier. Franks being one of the worst civilizations in S tier, Byzantines, Ethiopians will be one of the best ones in A tier. But I still see Franks being slightly stronger. Simply amazing eco for Franks makes them that strong and that high on my list. Goths. That's a D tier civilization. The problem of Goths is that you can get amazing matchups, let's say against Chinese, against Hans, that's potentially the biggest civ win you can get on Arena. And there are some more that you can find there. Even against Berbers, gods should have quite a good advantage. And on the other hand, you can have incredibly good matchups against gods. Let's say Aztecs versus gods, that's a complete civ win. Byzantines versus gods, that's a complete civ win. There are many civilizations in the game that have extremely easy time when they are playing against god. So this is why I put gods only in D tier. Although you could find their matchups against civilizations from C or even B tier when they shouldn't be really behind. But gods, you always know what they are going to do. They have really poor eco, so yeah, I think gods deserve to be only in D tier. It's still better than Hans, because Hans, potentially the worst civilization on Arena right now. You simply struggle against onagers, same as with Chinese. You don't even have many options against Halp and siege rank pushes, so Hans will only be E tier there for me. You have quite a clean eco, you do have easy time getting the map control. Don't get me wrong, I really like Hans, but on Arena I just cannot find any reason to put them any higher. Yeah, Hans, in my opinion, are the worst civilization on Arena, simply because so many civilizations can counter the Han army in Imp quite easily. Incas, that's a C tier civilization. If I would decide between tiers, then I would be deciding between B and C with Incas, and they would be somewhere in the middle. But I think they are still a bit closer to C tier. Like, you do have Eagles, you have Monks, you have Kamaiuks, which are quite good actually, but yeah, you don't have amazing eco on its own. You don't have really strong army to be comparable with the best civilizations. So I'm only gonna put Incas as C tier, although it's one of the civilizations when you actually have quite a good options if you want to play aggressive and also if you want to play defensive. But simply not having strong eco puts them quite down, and therefore they are only C tier in my books. Indians, that's another C tier civilization. They have really good eco, unlike Incas, but even their units aren't too bad. You have skirmishers, you have hussar, you have hand cannons, even elephant archers are actually quite viable unit on Arena. You are struggling against the compositions of the best civilizations in the game though, and yeah, for me Indians are only C tier, but it's not really a bad Arena civilization. Italians, civilization for B tier for me. The thing is that with Italians you don't have really good eco. You are only saving some food and gold on the uptimes on Arena, or on the advancing to next age, but you have really good units. You have very good options. You have BBC, you have Monks, you have Condotieros, which can be actually quite good for map control, and you have Genoese crossbowmen and Hussar, which is very tough composition to stop in Imp, because it just counters almost everything, especially if you have some BBC, if you are sniping SOs, then there is very little what you can do against Genoese crossbowmen and Hussar. So basically because of their army composition and because of their options in Imp, I'm putting Italians as B tier. Japanese, that's a C tier civilization for me. I could even put them in D tier, honestly. Like, yes, you do have some eco bonuses with the cheaper lumberjacks and then cheaper mining camps and mills. Doesn't matter that much on Arena. You can smash with Japanese, which isn't too bad. Still, you don't have really good options in Imp, like you have Arbalest, you have Skirmisher, you have Samurais, but you don't have Bombard Cannon, so below average eco, I would say slightly below average army composition in Imp. Japanese will be only C tier for me, and you could even consider them putting in D tier. That's absolutely not the case with Khmer, because it's a A tier civilization. Obviously Khmer the biggest issue with Khmer is that they don't have anything against SOs really. They don't have monks, they don't have bombard cannons, so this is the biggest problem. Like Halp and SO composition can beat Khmer quite convincingly. On the other hand, you have one of the best ecos in the game, potentially the best. Amazing Civ for the map control and for the relics. You can get Hussar and Arbalest, which isn't that strong army on its own or an arena, but simply because of your eco you can get there so much faster than opponent. So I will put Khmer in A tier simply because of their eco, not really because of their army. On the other hand, if you can get to tons of heavy Scorpion, if you can get to Hussar and Ballista Elephants, then this is again very strong composition for sure. Korea. I would like to put Koreans C tier, but I cannot. I will put them in D tier. The problem is that once again you don't have great eco. You like cheap, you like better stone mining or faster stone mining that has very little impact on arena, and Koreans are simply the best if they just go for YOLO. Trash or maybe Gartov Rush and Gaslight, 1 TC Imp, maybe some BBC War Wagons, which are now really strong. So I think this is how you should be playing Koreans, really aggressively, and then they can beat many civilizations in this way. But on the other hand, it's quite predictable. You can go with Koreans, Halp, SO, but simply it just takes so long to get there because you have very poor eco. So I will only put Koreans in D tier. And well, if you can get to your full strong unit composition in Imp, Koreans are very strong, but there is almost no chance that you should be able to get there against any civilization in the game. Lithuanians, S tier. Simply relics adding attack to Latiss, mainly Latiss, but it's obviously applied to paladins as well, is such a good bonus. Latiss in Imp with potentially 20 damage output and ignoring armor. Extremely strong unit. You have also good Halps, you have good skirmishers. Because of the 150 extra food, you have always great Dark Age, and you should contest the relics quite easily. Faster Monastery, one of the best units, I mean one of the best civs in the game for Smash. So yeah, Lithuanians are an S tier civilization for me. Magyars, C tier. If you can get into very long game when you are spamming Magyar Hussar and heavy CA with the recurve bow, then yes, Magyars should win almost any civilization in the game. The problem is getting there, because simply your unit composition is really expensive and you need a lot of eco to get there. Magyar eco, without any eco bonus in the game, they just struggle to get there. So I like Magyars as a civilization. If you can get with them into very late game, then Magyars should beat almost anything, but the problem is to get there. So I'm gonna still put Magyars in C tier just because of their late game. Against some civilization they should be very good, for example against Sans, but I cannot really justify putting them any higher because of their eco. Malay. Not my favorite civilization, I gotta say. I will still put them in A tier. Malay with the faster uptimes, that's what matters on arena a lot. So you will always have better eco than your opponent going to Castle Age, and you can contest the relics. Obviously, you can get really fast imp time. You can even smash with Malay relatively easily. You have amazing monks. You don't really have great options army-wise in Imp, like you do have Arbalest, you have Skirmisher, you have BBC, and that's about it. But simply your eco and how fast you can get to Imp and start producing cheap army makes Malay one of the best civilizations in the game. I will only put them in A tier though. Malians. That's a C tier civilization for me. Kind of similar as Japanese in my opinion. Both of them having okayish eco bonus, nothing too major. Both of them are quite good with Smash, so that would be a good option with both of those civilizations. And in Imp, nothing special considering their army. They have BBC, unlike Japanese, they have also hand cannons, which is quite good. You have light cavs. On the other hand, you don't have arbalest, and you don't have halbs. So yeah, I think very similar as Japanese, and I think they are on quite a similar level. I will put Malians in C tier. Again, like mediocre eco, mediocre army. Cannot really put them any higher or lower. Mayans. I could justify putting Mayans in D tier. I definitely could. I will stick with them in C tier because they can get some nice matchups against civilizations like Incas, Berbers, Indians. I wouldn't really mind Mayans against any of those. So I will stick with Mayans in C tier, but it will be one of the worst civilizations in there. And similar problem as with Chinese and Hans, your biggest issue is onagers. You cannot really counter onagers with your own siege because you don't have BBC, you don't have better onagers than opponent. You actually even lack siege engineers, similar as Hans, similar as Chinese. And you can do eagles, but if they are onagers and head cannons or onagers and lots of champs, then simply it's a very tough composition for Mayans to beat. So I will stick with Mayans on C tier. Yeah, they have a very strong eco, but simply their army composition in Imp is struggling. Mongols. Where do I put Mongols? Interesting civilization and arena. Basically, if you get to Mangudais, like a lot of Mangudais and even spamming Hasar, Mongols beat almost every civilization in the game in that position, but it's just tricky to get there. You don't even have amazing eco on arena because the hand bonus is nice, but it gets you to decent castle age, but after that you simply don't have any eco bonus with Mongols. And if you want to get to Mangudais, you need castles, you need tons of resources to get into it, and simply with a rather poor eco, it's just tough to get there. So, and without Mangudais, Mongols are quite poor civilization on arena. Although you have siege onagers, but again, that's that's a huge investment to get to those. So I'm gonna put Mongols in C tier. Amazing army if you can get there. Without it, quite a poor civilization and not really amazing eco. Persians. This will be D tier for me, although it will be one of the best civilizations in D tier. You have HCBBC, so that's basically the best you can do with Persians most of the time. You have Hasar, you have then Trash Bows, but opening with Trash Bows in Castle Age wouldn't really work for you, or even in like early Imp wouldn't really work for you because still it's crossbowman and not really amazing one. Yeah, you do have the eco. Like Persians have very strong eco, but it's just tough to transfer into anything meaningful after it, after your decent boom. So I will put Persians only in D tier. I could make arguments with Persians putting them into C tier just because of their hand cannons and bombard cannons and their solid eco which can support very fast imp time. But I think I have to stay with Persians in D tier. Most civilizations in C tier should beat Persians quite convincingly. So yeah, I will stick with Persians in D tier. Portuguese. I would love to put Portuguese in S. I will go with A. The Portuguese are really good because of arcane guns, also cheaper monks. That means a lot. You can use Vitoria, which on arena has great usage for sure. Still, it's simply the civilizations that are in top there should be able to defend versus arcane guns in Castle Age, then should have potentially the stronger army than Portuguese. I would like to put Portuguese higher, but you are kind of lacking any eco bonus before Feitoria, which is quite late. It's still not really explored meta to go like into fast Imperial potentially and use Feitorias. I still cannot put Portuguese higher, although I really like the civilization and I think it's very strong. But I'm gonna stick with them in A tier. Cannot contest really the strength of the S tier civilizations. Okay, Saracens. S tier it is for me. I mean, not S tier, obviously C tier. You have solid army, arbalest, hussar, can even get to SOs, but you can use the market, but this is basically your only eco bonus. I think Saracens aren't really great on arena. You can use monk, you can go monk with them, and you can abuse the market quite nicely with that one. I still cannot put Saracens higher than C tier, I think. Even with their market bonus, their eco isn't amazing, and they don't really have incredibly post-imp army on its own as well. Then we have their Sicilians. Potentially the civ that I struggled the most to get a best seat for them. In the end, I decided for B tier. That might be surprisingly low, but I think they will even drop in there. The problem with Sicilians is that they are basically a horrible civilization, at least on arena. When like, on arena you simply don't really use your bonuses, your eco bonus like with farms. That's not really great on arena either, and why Sicilians aren't the worst. You don't even have bombard cannons. That's necessary to say. I don't think you have siege engineers, so your siege reel isn't the best. You don't have great arbalest. You don't have hussar. Yeah. So what do you have? The only reason why Sicilians aren't in F tier, with a literally a tier of their own, is because of their unique technology. First Crusade, which allows you to spam 50 units for ridiculously low price. The unique technology for now, I think, is completely broken because it's just ridiculously strong, and I'm very sure that this will be nerfed in some way. I would expect like that the TCs will only spam 5 units once you research the unique technology. So that means that you won't get 50 units instantly, but you will get only 25. That would really nerf Sicilians. Also, their unique unit on its own is quite powerful, with like 4 pierce armor, 4 meal armor in imp as a base stats. So I just don't like how the civilization is designed, honestly. Everyone will always know that we'll only go for the unique unit and always go for the unique technology, and we'll try to abuse it this way, but that just shouldn't be. I think players will realize how to beat that, especially with the strongest civilizations. It should be really tough for you to get map control, so you should never be able to surprise opponent with this. Also, as I said, everyone will expect that you will at some point get 50 units. So first of all, I expect that this will be nerfed, and then the Sicilians will go way lower in the tiers. And even now, I do expect players to be prepared for this. So I still think it's really strong. There is a good option for the opponent to screw up against if there is immediately 50 units on the field, very strong units even. So I will stick with Sicilians in B tier because this can win you the game, and it won't be easy to defend against this, but basically if you won't win the game with the unique technology and with the unique unit spam, then you won't win the game against kind of any of the civilizations because you really don't have great options. And your eco is trash as well. Slavs. Surely B tier civilization. Very solid, obviously great eco. You have help SOs. You are kind of lacking heresy, and without help SOs, you do have Hussar, but in early imp you don't really have many options to play with, but you have a strong eco, so you should be able to get into the composition you really want. Also with Slavs you can go just Monk Rush. They have very good monks, so Slavs are well a solid B tier civilization. Spanish. This will be surely a big surprise for many players, but seeing how Spanish perform lately, seeing how everyone can deal with Kongs in Castle Age with like double monastery, Spanish are D tier for me. You don't really have any eco bonus, like faster building, okay, not really special for like as an eco bonus if you put it this way, and it's the only thing you have. And yeah, you do have skirmishers, full upgraded, you do have helps, you have Hussar, so your trash is quite good. I would give Spanish this, but if you go for Kongs, then most of the players will already know how to beat it in Castle Age, and you will just be so behind in eco. And if you don't go for Kongs, then you are kind of playing the game where Spanish don't shine at all. Like no eco bonus, not a great army on its own. So Spanish is for me only a D tier civilization. I cannot really put them higher. Tatars. It's another D tier. You have great eco with Tatars, but on the other hand you don't have the greatest units, and you will really struggle against help and SO compositions. Still, Keshik is really strong. I think it was slightly nerfed in the latest patch, but still Keshiks are very powerful, and even your heavy CA and Hussar composition is very strong, but the problem again is help and SO compositions, and even some units without help SOs can have even stronger composition than what Tatars have. So I can only put Tatars in D tier. If I would choose between Spanish and Tatars who I would put into C tier, it would be definitely Tatars though. Teutons. This is a no-brainer. Teutons, one of the best arena civilizations in the game, and they have to be in S tier. Obviously amazing versus monks with their resistance, amazing for map control, maybe the best help associative in the game. You have paladins, you have elite Teutonic knights, which can be also helpful sometimes. You have HCBBC, you have granulations. I can just talk there for like a while why Teutons are so amazing. You have incredible options on arena, in imp, unit wise, army wise, and you have real strong eco as well with the cheaper farms. So yeah, Teutons absolutely S tier civilization, no doubt about that one. Turks. It's one of the civilizations that can beat Teutons, and I would still put them in A tier because you can get there some matchups which wouldn't be the best for Turks. I mean, for example, against Mayans, it's not really optimal. There are some civilizations that would have good chances against Turks that are from the lower tiers, and this is why I would put Turks only in A tier. Like, there are ways how to beat Janissaries, and this is the strongest play that Turks can go for. So I will put Turks in A tier, but they are one of the better civilizations there for sure. Okay, moving on. Last two civilizations. And Vietnamese, this is a C tier. Like, not a great eco, although there's at least an eco bonus for them. Decent army, at least in imp you have quite a strong composition, but it's tough to get into it. You do have BBC, which is nice. You have like strong army composition. I would give them that, but simply with their eco I cannot justify putting them any higher than C tier. So yeah, let's put them into C tier. And the Vikings as the last civilization, joining C tier as well. This is a civilization with one of the best ecos in the game, but again the problem is onagers. You don't even have cavalry, you don't have monks, you don't have, or like you do have cavalry but very poor with Vikings. You don't have monks, don't have BBC. You simply struggle against like many onagers or even siege onagers, and This is why I put Vikings only into C tier. Yeah, cannot really put them higher. Yeah, so I think I will now put them kind of in the order how I would rank the civilizations in each tier. But I'm quite happy about the tiers on its own. Okay, so with S tier, let's start. I think maybe Britons as the best arena civilization right now. Yeah, I would say Britons, potentially the strongest arena civilization in the game. Aztecs, Teutons, those should be like the three strongest without doubt. You can just discuss the order there. And I think Lithuanians, potentially 4th, Burgundians 5th, Franks 6th, yeah. I think like this, that makes the most sense. A tier, maybe like this. Byzantines, Ethiopians, Malay, I would say Turks. Yeah, I think Turks and Portuguese and Khmer. Potentially the worst one in A tier. I think that makes a lot of sense. Those are still those 12 civs are really strong on arena, and like they should be mostly like banned or picked in arena drafts. Okay, Burmese makes sense. No, I would put Burmese way behind. I think I would start with Slavs potentially. Yeah, I think Slavs will be first for me. Maybe Italians. Yeah, I think like this. That makes the most sense to me. Okay, C tier. There are a lot of civilizations, so it will take a while. Okay. I want to put there Incas as the first one for sure. That's by far the strongest. I would consider with Incas between B and C tier. I put them in C tier in the end. Then we have their, I think, Vikings potentially right behind. Indians are, I think, quite underrated on arena, so let's put them this way. Indians, I would say Vietnamese. Yeah, and then potentially Mongols already, Berbers, Magyars, Saracens. Yeah, I would go this direction. Maybe still Mayans over Malayans and Japanese. Or maybe like this. I think Malayans are slightly better than Japanese. So I would rank it basically like this. That makes a lot of sense to me. Okay, D tier. That's Persians. Yeah, I think the strongest civ there. Maybe Koreans after. Potentially Tatars and Spanish. And I think simply Bulgarians are way too slow for arena. Cannot put them higher than this. Goths, yeah, I think I would stay with it this way. And yeah, Chinese and then Hans. So I think this is how I would even rank the civilizations within each tier. And yeah, that will be all for me. I hope you guys enjoyed that one, and more videos will surely follow. So thank you and see you.